Mike Moore Media.
It's our fourth in a series of programs with the Rockingham County Board of Elections. Director Paula Seamster is in our studios. Paula, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's good to be here.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. First, let's bring everyone up to date about the board, the actual Board of Elections here in Rockingham County, because this is the month to make some changes.
We already had our meeting. We had our meeting on July the 18th?
Okay, third Tuesday?
Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Yes, so it was the July the 20th. I'm sorry. Okay. But our 5 board members, we have the same remaining board members, which is Chair Ophelia Wright, and our new secretary is Sarah Totten. It was Tom Schoolfield last year, but Sarah Totten has agreed to be our secretary this year. Then we have member Thurman Hampton, member Nelson Cole, and then, like I said earlier, member Tom Schoolfield.
Okay. Now, for those that may have missed our earlier podcast, how do we choose these people?
The Republican Party and the Democrat Party submit 3 names each year to the State Board of Elections. The State Board actually chooses 2 from the Republican Party and 2 from the Democrat Party, and then the majority or the party that the governor is, which it is the Democratic Party this time, the Democrat Party actually submits name for the chairman or the chair, and the governor appoints the chair of the Board of Elections.
Okay. And this is a 2-year term?
It is a 2-year term, so it would be for 2023 through 2025.
Okay. So everyone's back in place?
Everyone is back in place.
Okay. Very good. Now, bring us up to date on what's happening with the Stoneville municipal election, because the deadline for all municipalities for candidates to file was a week ago. Let me check my calendar. That was the 21st. But you explain what happened there.
Okay. As most of you know, the Stoneville had 1 seat for the mayor, of course, and 3 seats for their council seats. Well, what happened, we only had 1 individual to file. So the Board of Elections had to have a special meeting to decide whether they were going to extend the candidate filing deadline or not to extend. So our board voted unanimously to extend the candidate filing period just for the town of Stoneville council seats, and that was for an additional 5 days. That deadline is tomorrow, Friday, July the 28th Today, July 28th at noon.
Okay. So, I had to move the program, so so thank you for adjusting on that too. So noon today, the deadline for that. So we earlier in the week, we did have 2 additional candidates file.
We did.
So we have enough now.
We have enough now, but with the municipal election, you still have the opportunity for write-ins.
Okay.
So that is still the opportunity. So during the one-stop early voting and election day, if you do not see a candidate that you would like in that position, you also have the opportunity to write in someone's name.
Okay. That's always there. Now, you said they decided to extend this for another week, basically. Is that something? It seemed like that's something they would automatically do. Would a board necessarily not extend that, and then you don't have enough candidates? How does that?
That is part of the general statutes. The board has the decision whether they want to extend it or not.
Okay.
Most boards extend it.
Yeah.
But we do have that opportunity to say no, that it will be write-ins that make that decision. But our board thought it was advantageous to actually extend it 1 more week, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Because as you see, 2 more people filed. So we now have the 3 individuals we need.
Okay, very good. All right, so that closes out at noon today just for the town of Stoneville. Everything else is in place for all of the other municipalities. And we've gone over that before. That's City of Eden, Reedsville, town of Madison, Mayodan, Wentworth, and Stoneville all have seats up for election this year.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And we've had a pretty good turnout, it looks like.
Yes, we've had a great turnout. A lot of people that have never been involved in politics. Mm-hmm. We have some, they've been to town council meetings and want to serve their community. We have others that were asked to file. So we've had a lot of new faces and new individuals that are interested in getting to the political arena.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. Well, wishing the best to all of those candidates. Now, let's talk a little bit about, you were telling me right before we started the podcast, Paula, that a lot of people come by your office, they call your office and want to know, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you make this change? Why don't you, explain how that works? Can you, as director, your staff say, hey, well, let's arbitrarily just make some changes?
No, we cannot. That is a misconception that the local state board of elections can make changes to policies and rules. That is something we are not allowed. We have to follow the regulations that the state board of elections gives us. They have legal counsel that goes by the general statutes, and they tell us what we can and cannot do. And, of course, the General Assembly is the one that makes our laws. Mm-hmm. So we have to follow the laws that the General Assembly actually votes on and puts into the form of a law. It starts out as a bill, and the House and the Senate actually vote on that. And once it's into law, we have to follow that, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whether you like it as director, your staff, or candidates.
That is correct, or the residents.
Yeah. And this is this keeps everybody on the same page.
It does. Mm-hmm. And everything goes back to the general statutes. Anytime you call our office and you ask us why we do things the way we do, we usually have a numbered memo from the State Board of Elections, and those can be found on the State Board of Elections website. And we also keep a notebook in our office if you want to come by and look at those. Mm-hmm. And if it's law by the General Assembly, we have a general statute to back it up, and we can provide you with that number so you can look it up yourself.
Okay, very good. All righty, it's all right there to answer our questions.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay, let's get an update. It's been a while since we talked about photo ID. Where are we in that?
Hopefully, if it's not today, the first of next week, there should be a press release coming out from the State Board of Elections that all county boards of elections will be able to take photo IDs for individuals that come by and do not have a driver's license or a picture photo ID. And there is a misconception about that. A lot of people are saying voter IDs. It's not a voter ID, it's a photo ID. Okay. And because there's a misconception that you have to have a separate card from your driver's license or your non-driving photo ID. Mm-hmm. That is not correct. A picture ID could be your driver's license, a non-driving license from the North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles. It could be your military ID. Anything that has your picture on it, your address, and an expiration date is considered a photo ID. And the ones that are approved for photo IDs for the 2023 election, those can be found on the State Board of Elections website or the Rockingham County Board of Elections website. We have a direct link on our front page of our website that you can connect to the State Board of Elections so you know which ID is approved and which ones are not. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's just mention that website now. You can go to rockinghamcountync.gov, click on the menu up the top left, and go to departments, and Board of Elections, and you'll find everything you need right there
Yes, sir.
for Rockingham County Board of Elections. Now, this photo ID, we're using the words photo ID. How does this change some things when we go to vote next time?
You will need to provide us with your photo ID when you're first checking in. That will be the first thing they'll ask for. And then they'll ask you for your name and address. And some people say, well, why are you asking us for your name and address? It is procedure. It's policy. We have to follow that. Even though it sounds redundant, we have your picture ID, but during the 2023 election, we're looking at that photo ID for a resemblance. Your address may not be the same as what it is in our system, and that's allowed for the 2023 election.
Okay.
There are new rules that may take place in the 2024. But let's say you do not have a photo ID. We do have an exception form that you can fill out, and there are reasons why you do not have a photo ID. And if you meet that criteria, you can check it. But the only thing is, without the photo ID during the 2023 election, it's going to be considered as a provisional ballot.
And then that means what?
Provisional ballots are not put into the DS-200 voting machines and don't count right then. It has to go through a process of research. Those individuals that do not have their photo ID will have until the last business day before canvass, which is 10 days after our election, to bring us a form of their photo ID. And then that will be presented to the Board of Elections for approval or disapproval before canvass is over.
This sounds confusing, and it's a lot of paperwork and time, eating up a lot of time here.
Yes.
So the best thing to do is
have your photo ID.
Have your photo ID and make sure that your vote counts and you don't have to go through all of this.
Yes, sir.
Very
That
good.
is correct. It's the easiest way.
It certainly is. Okay. Yeah. And that's interesting because following the rules and regulations and the laws and all of that, but there are exceptions, as you said. And I'm not going to, should I ask you the exceptions or it's too complicated?
Well, they have not all been approved yet.
Okay.
The State Board of Elections, according to the email I received this week, is meeting on August the 13th, which I think that may be wrong because that's a Sunday. They usually meet on Tuesday, so I'm thinking they may be meeting on August the 15th, but my email said the 13th. The State Board of Elections has not approved all of the exceptions as of yet. But during their August meeting, whenever that will be held, that will be the final approval unless they extend that. But we will have the final approvals before the election actually takes place.
Always changing.
Always changing.
On the state level.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Well, believe it or not, our time is just about over. So it goes quickly here, and but we always want to update you on what's going on with your Rockingham County Board of Elections. We've got really about another 45 seconds remaining here, Paula, but anything you'd like to say?
Just if you have questions, please call our office or send us an email. We'll be glad to answer your questions. If we don't know the answers, we will get you the correct answers. We do not want misinformation out there, so please call us and we'll try to answer all your questions in the best of our ability.
Okay. Thanks to you and your staff for your excellent job. We appreciate it. Wishing all of the board as they continue in their duties too.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a challenging job at times.
It is.
Yeah, demanding a lot of time too. Yeah. So thanks to that board for serving. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Let me again remind you how you can get more information about our Rockingham County Board of Elections. Go to rockinghamcountync.gov. Click on the menu at the top left, the lines there, departments, and then just scroll down a little bit there, and you find Board of Elections. If you have any questions at all,